In this series, lowimpact.org talks with people working to build a mutually owned, democratic, decentralised economy that builds community and doesn't destroy nature. We want to increase collaboration to bring about system change. Find links to the sites mentioned in the videos in the description below. Join the conversation by liking, commenting and subscribing to our channel.
Okay, so today I'm talking with Mercedes Bidart of Quipu Markets. Mercedes, you're from Argentina, is that right? Are you in Argentina now?
Yes, I'm in Buenos Aires.
Hello,
Hi, Dave.
nice to speak with you. So your project, Quipu Markets, it was born at Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where you did a master's, and the project is being launched in Colombia. So it's a very Pan-American project. And I saw an article about you in Forbes magazine. I'll put a link to that in the description. But before we talk about the details of the project, I want to talk to you about what drives you. What's the problem you want to solve with your work?
Yes, so Dave, I'm an urban planner. So I'm driven by cities, right? And how cities work, and basically what I'm completely upset about is seeing that we just accept as granted that 1 every 4 people, at least in Latin America and in the world, is 1 every 3, lives in an informal settlement. 1 in every 3 lives in these places in our cities that we just, walk by as if they were okay. But actually, what I think is that it's structurally bad and structurally, left behind. And these places in the cities are, they lack access to proper infrastructure, housing, water, and sanitation. But at the same time, they have a really vibrant economy. Like, there's a lot of commerce in these places, but that just happens at the margins of the cities. They are actually essential for the cities to work, but they are not able to create and retain wealth locally. So there's a problem of how these economies could work, and actually could work for the people that work in these economies. So that's what I'm most passionate about, of how we can solve this gap between the people that actually make the economy work and the people that benefit from the economy. So that is intersection in the cities where I'm working, where the informal housing and informal living conditions are intersected cross with the informal economy, but at the same time there's a lot of commerce going on. So that is the thing that I'm working on.
So yeah, how does your work address this problem? What do you do in the what's the name, favelas, slum areas?
It depends a country. Yeah, it depends a country. Here we call it barrios populares, which is like popular neighborhoods, but it's mostly known as informal settlements.
And how does your work address the problems of the settlements?
So I hope I address the problem. I think I'm not. It's such a big structural problem. It's a system problem basically.
We have to start somewhere.
Yeah, right. So the way that I me and not just me, but I'm working with a team. The way we face this problem is saying how we can create alternative economic systems that work for the people that make part of that economy, right? So an economy that works for the workers and the people that make part of it. And so the way we are framing it is so the question that started our whole project was how technology could actually foster a more collaborative economy, how we can create this a more solidarity economy in places where the economy never worked. So that's like our mindset and how we are framing it. So we started a whole process of co-design of technology, of a digital platform with people living in this type of neighborhoods. And that's how we came up with Kippu, which is a platform that visualizes commerce, demand and offer, digitalizes micro businesses in informal settlements and allows them a trading system with which they can trade without using money. And as a third component, when you use the marketplace, you are recording all your transactions, so then you can start creating for the first time a great history, you know, and unlock access to better financial services. So that's I mean the solution, right, in a nutshell. But basically, the three main problems that we've seen, it's the first one is the lack of visibility of these economies. What's the demand and offer? What's happening? Who's selling what and where? The second one is a lack of money liquidity. There's not enough money to trade, to transact. And the third one, there's a lack of access to capital. The access to capital is extremely predatory. And these three components, actually, I can summarize them is in this lack of wealth creation and retention, how we can create wealth for our communities. And I'm sure that it's a similar problem that you are seeing also in your country, you know. But in these places, it's just structural and it's always the same. It's not just in economic crisis. It's just, you know.
I was having a conversation with somebody saying, you know, soon there's going to be not very much money at all in British communities. I said, well, that's been the situation in a lot of the world for a long time, constantly.
Yeah. So what we call it, it's, you know, it's an emergency on top of an emergency. These places were in an emergency constant, and now we are adding a new layer where poverty is rising, where informality is rising, where informal settlements are increasing. But the problem was, you know, was there for forever.
So tell me about Quipu Markets. You say it's a digital marketplace where informal businesses can trade with each other more easily without money.
Yeah. So we call it community digital marketplaces. You know, it's not just any marketplace. It's a community digital marketplace, because the community part is very important, because what happens with the marketplace is that it mirrors how the traditions of the informal commerce happens. It's a marketplace that is tailored for proximity, and it's tailored for these practices that happens in these really hyper-local economies. So that's why it's a community digital marketplace as a first thing. And what allows is that people that, you know, users that have a business uploaded and offer products and services, they can trade with one another using a community token and or pesos, you know,
you
fiat
can trade
currency.
you can trade in. So are the tokens digital?
The tokens are digital.
Okay.
The cash is not.
Yeah.
So so in Latin America, different from Africa, you know, there's not a lot of mobile money solutions. I mean, there are out there, but people are reticent to, like, you know, adopt mobile money platforms. So people value the cash, like having the, you know, the pesos in their hands is very important. So that's why we noticed that the marketplace, and actually this popped up in all this co-design process that I was telling you that we made with the users, and themselves they were like, you know, I think the trading system, it's a solution for some of our problems, but at the same time we need the pesos to buy things that are outside the community, you know.
So you said there was a co-design process with how many businesses?
Yeah, so the process was with approximately 40 micro businesses.
40.
Yes.
Wow.
We started, it was, you know, this is a method called participatory action research. And it's a type of research where the, you know, the beneficiary of the research is actually a researcher. Mm-hmm. So what we did was like train, you know, train micro business owners living in a public housing neighborhood in Colombia as researchers. And with them, we designed the questions of the survey. We carried out the whole research process, and we analyzed the results together. And with the results of how their economy was working, this is, we call it production and consumption mapping. It's a type of research of like survey and mapping that we took from other experiences like Kenya and grassroots economics and Banco Palmas in Brazil, different experiences that they are using this type of mapping. But what we've done is that we train the beneficiaries of the research as researchers. So we implemented this production and consumption mapping, and after that we analyzed the data together and we started just drawing solutions, how a community platform would look like. And this took 1.5 years almost of like a lot of community work and really understanding why, what features this marketplace should have, why, and how it could work for the users.
And the platform is on a phone?
It's on a phone. It's a web-based platform because we noticed that in these places the access to smartphones is there. Like people use WhatsApp and Facebook. People have smartphones. In Colombia, it's more than 70% of smartphone penetration. In Latin America, it's more than 62%. I mean, it's 3 times Africa in that sense. But at the same time, the phones are not as good to be downloading apps and things that are very heavy. So we are like we are going for the web-based application.
Well, you have to have access to a website, to the internet.
Yes.
And so the businesses go onto a directory on a platform so you can find them?
Mm-hmm.
And then you can trade with them on the platform?
Yes. So what happens, right? Like if I'm a business owner in this community, I create a profile. I validate my profile by uploading a picture of my ID and a selfie, because these are unbanked people. So the way to validate a profile is, we found that way of doing it. And then I can, I fill out my profile, I upload my business, I upload my products and services in a very easy and friendly way. And when I finish that process, we validate your profile, and the marketplace gives you a certain amount of tokens with which you can start trading. And the marketplace has also built up a gamification where, like, as much as you buy in the neighborhood, you get certain like rewards and stars, and we are framing it in the way of saying, let's change the rules of the game. And the rules of this game is just that if we buy more in the neighborhood, if we are like better, with the community, if we get better scores from my neighbors, that's the way I win, if you want, or like my profile increases.
So how many, when your business joins the directory, how many tokens do you get?
You get 30,000 Colombian pesos in tokens. Okay. So this is like, how much is it? It's less than $20.
Oh, right. Okay. So it's very low amounts.
It's a very low amount. The prices, so we did a whole analysis of the prices of the products and services that are offered in these communities, and the prices are very low. Yeah. So then it allows you to do at least 3 purchases on the marketplace. Right. So you get these tokens that you can use in the first 3 purchases that you are doing. To unlock the 3rd purchase, you need to sell something first. So that's one of the rules that it has built on. So we call this a first campaign. Like this is the first experiment. We'll see how it works. And these things are things that we will start probably changing, adjusting.
So can you do a trade in a mixture of tokens and pesos?
Yes. So if as I was saying, I'm a business owner and I offer cakes, right? And if my cakes are $10, they will be $10 on the platform, will be the same price. But as a business owner, I say how much of that I accept in the token. Right. So maybe I'm selling, these cakes for $10, and I say I accept up to 5 in the token, 50% of it.
Could you say 100%?
I can say 100%, obviously.
Okay.
And we encourage, you know, business
Right.
owners to accept the 100%.
Right.
But sometimes it's not possible, you know, if you have to buy a lot of things outside the neighborhood to produce what you're doing, sometimes it's not possible.
So you can do, say, if you do 50% of the trade in tokens, you can do that on the platform. And then when you go to collect the goods, or when you go to the business, or whatever happens, then you have to pay the rest in the 50% in cash.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, I got you.
Yes. But we are letting, you know, that transaction happen like between the users. We are not, I mean, we are not Amazon or any other e-commerce platform, you know, we are not like facilitating that that delivery or that agreement between buyer and seller.
It's just the trade.
Mm-hmm.
So do a lot of the businesses, they're very informal businesses, do a lot of them have no official premises, they just trade from home or in the street, or?
Yeah, so all of them, they are happening from their homes.
Okay.
All of them. So what is interesting so, you know, we are in our first pilot in a neighborhood, in a public housing neighborhood in Barranquilla, in the Caribbean coast of Colombia, where this neighborhood is a 10,000 inhabitants neighborhood. So it's kind of like a small city. And what happened is that they are living in this public housing that was given to them. Some of them paid part of it, but, you know, it's these type of neighborhoods where all the buildings look the same. I don't know if you've ever seen one of these, you know, neighborhoods in the outskirts of the cities where like all the houses are the same, all the towers are the same. And what happened is that when they develop these neighborhoods, they don't leave a space for commercial activity. So people are like, you know, moving from different places of the country. In Colombia, most of the people that are moving to these places is because of the armed conflict in Colombia. So they are displaced, you know, from where they were living. And by living here, maybe they were used to have this economic activity also from their homes where they were living. But now they are like, you know, moved to a new place where the houses are like all, as I was saying, the same. So what we've seen is that people actually transform their houses into businesses. So you see houses that like now maybe they, you know, destroy a wall and they just like put a tent kind of to open a restaurant there, but they live there. So actually they live in one room and the other part of the house, they use it for their business. So that's how actually, you know, these hyper local economies are working. It's like this informality that is home-based. So that's why, you know, maybe an important concept to bring here is that we don't like to call it informal economy, but we call it the popular economy. Okay. Because informal is kind of like, oh, that is illegal, you know. And actually it speaks for half of the way that, you know, the economy works in Latin America. So it's not illegal per se.
Yeah. And how many markets do you have at the moment? How many communities do you have a market in?
So we are working with one community, this community in Barranquilla, and now we are ready to launch in more places. So we are having conversations.
You'll have different markets in different communities?
Yeah. So the idea is to be in as many communities as, you know, as it is needed. And so now we are opening. So all this pilot in Barranquilla, it's funded by the IDB, the Inter-American Development Bank, is helping us with all the development. Right. So the idea is to use the same platform with some, you know, some adjustments that are necessary in as many communities as possible, starting in Colombia.
And how long has this market been running?
So we started July 21st was the official launch. Before that, we were doing soft launch with, you know, a sample group and very, very like controlled group, understanding how they were using the token and the marketplace. But July 21st was the official open launch. So this was 3 weeks ago. And what we've done was, you know, having like a big social media campaign with videos and that's then if you want, you can show it how, you know, the video, how we are doing all the digital adoption. And what is impressive, I think, is that, you know, it was a whole digital campaign, no physical at all, because we can't go. Colombia is in a 100% lockdown, so people can't leave their houses. So we cannot be there, and we doing all digital, and we got 200 users in a week.
You got 200
so it
businesses
was,
joined in a week.
yeah.
Okay, wow.
So it was like a lot of interest out there, and now we are working with each of those people that registered, you know, one by one, also helping them to finish their profile, to upload their things. There's a lot of pedagogy, you know, that has to be done.
That's really encouraging, though.
Yeah, it is.
So did you have to find lots of trading loops in the community before you could launch? Did you get commitments from businesses to trade with each other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the key, you know, was like continuing working with these 40 champions, we call them, the co-designers, because they co-design it with us, you know. So they are the real champions there. And that's why also I think, even though we were not there in person, they were able to spread the word and help other micro businesses, you know, upload their business. So now it's kind of like a network of people helping people start their profiles.
And have there been lots of trades?
So we've seen not as much trade as we would love to, you know. It's, you know, it's a process of trusting the system, of seeing that, oh, actually it works, it has no mistakes or failures or whatever. So we are now working on how we can increase the transactions. So far we had like 25 plus transactions. But so that's what we are working right now. It's like how to explain, you know, how it's literally adopting a completely new system, going to the cash based to a mix. So that's what we are learning and what we want to bring to other communities too, you know, what we learn here.
How are you reaching out to businesses? How are you getting people to sign up? What's the most successful technique to get people to join? Yeah,
so all the soft launch, it was like connection one-on-one, you know, like people recommending people and we connecting one-on-one. That was not as effective as the whole digital campaign on WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram that we've done with the videos, with flyers. We put our phone number, the link to the app, and people sign up by themselves after watching the videos. Right. So I think that's the most effective thing, like to start a digital campaign that it's very targeted to the community, you know.
I'll put the videos in the description and in the blog article.
Awesome.
Do you employ people to encourage people to trade? Do you have, you know, brokers?
We so it's tricky. I mean, we started working with these champions, as I was saying. There's some people in the community that are more active than others. And I think now we have like, there might be like 3 or 4 people that are like actively encouraging other people to jump in the platform. But it's not it's not that we are like, you know, hiring them or. Okay. Yeah, it's just that they have this leadership, you know, in the neighborhood.
What different kinds of businesses are in the community or in the market?
Yeah, should I try to share the screen? What do you think?
Give it a go.
I will give it a go. Let's see. You have to allow me.
Yep. There you go.
Okay. So then I can show you, you know, the pictures and you can have a sense of how it looks like. Okay, yeah, there we are. So, you know, this is the marketplace, and as you can see, there are like people that offer barber shops, decoration, homeschooling, construction, well, food, you know, there's a lot of food too. So you can find whatever in the business, in the neighborhood.
Loads of different businesses.
Yeah, and what is interesting that is that there are new businesses. For example, this person that is offering hours of security to other people. So he's like offering, say, you know, security to houses per hour. This person was not doing this before the marketplace started.
All right, so you're helping
He
businesses.
yeah, he was like, hey, like now I can offer, maybe I can offer this, you know. He like created something out of nowhere.
Wow.
And this is what he's offering now. So you can start here and you can see that he offers 6,000 Colombian pesos per hour. So I can, but he's accepting, as you can see here, maximum 3,000. He's accepting 50% of the service in the token. So here I can say
he would charge 6,000 pesos per what? What is that? Per hour? Per
hour.
Per hour, and he would accept 3,000 pesos and 3,000 pesos worth of tokens.
Exactly.
Okay.
So here, if I go and say, okay, I want 1 hour of him, he has an offer of 10%. So that's another thing that we added, like how you can like put sales and offers. And in Kippus, he's accepting. I can say, okay, I will pay him 3,000 in Kippus. You know, the maximum is 2. Okay, because I have a discount here. And so then I can say, okay, I will. This is delivery or in the business. He comes because he's taking security of my house. And then I can say, okay, I can make a question to him, or, you know, start a chat where we can start or bargaining the price or talking about how he's going to deliver his service. I can, or I can add it to my wish list, you know.
So that's a really nice looking platform.
Thank you. Thank you. There we are. Well, it's, you know, it is whole process that we took of co-designing it.
So you have you use the term mutual credit. So you consider yourself a mutual credit scheme?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah.
And so we're starting mutual credit clubs in the UK. And there will be federation software that will allow businesses in different clubs to trade with each other. Will that be the case with you in Colombia when you have, and is it just Colombia, or do you want to start markets in different countries as well?
Well, so we received interest from a lot of places, you know, like the situation is the same in Argentina, in Brazil, in Ecuador. It's same situation of the concentration, you know, of the informal economy in informal settlements. So we received interest from different countries. So we are like analyzing, you know, the opportunity cost of opening in a new country. So yeah, at this point, we're very focused in Colombia. We are open, you know, to see if there are possibilities in our countries, but our priority is Colombia. And regarding the trading between communities, so for now, we see that like each community will have like an auto determination of their geography, if you want. But that will be something that certainly we will need to end up developing, or, you know, connecting with your solution for sure.
Yeah, I mean, we let's talk later. And yeah, it would be great. I mean, it's a way to, yeah, I mean, why not link mutual credit schemes all over the world? Let's try and build a new kind of economy, really.
Yeah, would be amazing.
And I heard that you visited Will Ruddock in Kenya, grassroots economics.
Yes.
How was that's a very interesting thing that's happening in East Africa. How was that?
Yes, that was great. So that was at the beginning of my research process, you know, of designing Kippu. So I started by spending a month and a half starting the research process in Colombia, and I went from Colombia to Kenya. For a month I was in Kenya. I was doing 2 things. One thing was financial inclusion workshop, where we were like designing also different technologies with people living in a rural area close to Nairobi. and I went there with MIT, with a university. And after that, I really wanted to visit Will and see, with my eyes what was going on there. So I went to a slum in Nairobi, and then I went to Mombasa. And actually, I was there the day that they launched the blockchain wallet. So it was the day of the launch. It was a busy day for Will and his team. And it was very interesting to see the similarities and the things that are not similar, like there's a lot of similarities between the regions, of like slums in Africa and slums in Latin America. But there's also, critical differences, like the way that people use the phone. In Africa, I've seen more dumb phones. Dumb phones is how they call them, not smartphones.
Yeah.
And like in Latin America, it's like everybody has a smartphone. There's no dumb phones, basically. Like people don't use text messages; they use WhatsApp. And the other thing was like the use of mobile money. It's they are used to mobile money in Kenya more than in Colombia, for sure. But it was really interesting to be there and see,
And is it does it work in the same way as Kippu?
So it depends. So, I don't know exactly now what Will is doing. I know he changes the way that they issue the currency, they do it in different ways depending the moment. So I don't know what he's doing right now. I know that I don't want to say, because then, I might be not updated, because I know there was some Bancor thing he was doing, but I don't know if now they're still doing that. So I'm not.
I want to interview him. I think I need to do some homework first to work out exactly how it works in Kenya, because it's more complicated, isn't it?
Yes, it is. We spent a lot of time talking about like the system that at that point he was working on this protocol for currencies to exchange from one community to the other. So It was kind of similar to what you are doing, but I don't think he's still working with the same thing. But I don't know. I don't want to say,
And what's your ambition? What's the plan?
Well, we envision a world where the economy is owned by the communities, right? We believe that communities can design their own economies. So that's our goal, is like helping as many communities as possible to design their own economic systems with a tool. We know we're just providing a tool. Technology is not going to solve everything, but we envision a world in which the economy is more just, it's more democratic, it's in the hands of the workers, and we envision a world where we can design more technologies like Kippu that are tailored for how these workers work and how their communities work.
That's music to my ears. I guess if you're really successful, those low-income neighborhoods, they won't be low-income anymore.
If we are really successful, yes, it might be. There are tons of things. I told you, this is a systemic problem. So my way of seeing it is how, as communities, we can be aware that this is a systemic problem. So then I call it, I take this from one of my mentors. His name is Otto Scharmer. He's the creator of Theory U. And what he says is that we need to enable communities to see and sense themselves. So how we can see and sense our own system to be able to transform our own system. And that speaks to how we relate to one another, in a more collaborative way, in a more solidarity way. So if with technology, we can help to sparkle, to spark something like that, that would be our ideal.
That's our outlook as well. Exactly the same. And I've been into working class communities in the UK, and I've talked with people, and they've said, there's not going to be very much money. There's not very much money anyway, but soon there's not going to be any money at all. And I just explain, just take like 20 seconds to say, well, we're building these mutual credit clubs. You know, your business goes into a directory. You put what you're offering and you put what you want, and then people can trade with you, but just on account. So if you sell, your account goes up. If you buy, your account goes down, and they're just numbers in an account. That's it. It's just numbers. You don't make any money, and you can see they're like, their mind is going like this, and they're like, ding. It's like, oh my god, that's a fantastic idea. Yes, I want to join. So I think the more people we can explain to about this, I think COVID, this could be you know, a good thing that's come out of COVID instead of all the bad things. I think this would be a good thing.
100%. Yeah, it's a moment, you know, we're seeing the moment that we were waiting for, you know, of like how we can bring the conversation of a new economy, of a different economy, and how people are like, yeah, this is exactly like, we need a different thing, you know. So for sure. And another term that Otto uses is awareness-based system change. So how we can change systems by being aware, you know, of themselves, and actually how it was not working and how it could work if we put it in our hands.
And I know you've spoken to Dill before, and the mutual credit clubs was Dill's idea.
Yes.
And he's written an article called the Transcender Manifesto. He said, we will change society, not by voting for a different political party, and not by trying to overthrow, not by trying to overthrow this system. It's too strong. We won't do that. But by transcending, we will build from the communities and just grow and transcend.
I agree.
Beautiful idea.
I agree.
And
I agree.
Just finally, the name of your project, Kippu.
Quipu Market. Yeah, Quipu Market.
I looked up Kippu on Wikipedia, and it's like it's an Inca, like an abacus or a calculating machine with knotted string. And
exactly.
And
the story is great. Yeah.
Sorry?
No, the story is it's great. It's exactly that. Yeah. So they are like, you know, they're like a necklace with knotty knots.
A necklace, you put it on the neck.
It's kind of a necklace. You can see it as a necklace, you know. It's like our logo, it's a digital Kippu. But you know, it's like a necklace with different ropes, and people do knots to, that was their written language for the Incas. They didn't have a written language. They used the Kippus, not just for census data, transactions, not just for numbers, but also for narratives.
Oh, wow.
So they were recording stories.
With knotted string.
Yes. So what happened now is that there are a lot of people trying to understand what the Kippus, you know, were recording. So the math Kippus, the numbers Kippus, people, some researchers were able to understand them, but the narratives Kippus, they cannot. And what happened is that when the Spanish came to Latin America, and they saw this way that they were communicating to one another and they couldn't understand, they burned them all. They just destroy that way of communication. So that's why, you know, it's, for us, it's like coming back to the roots of trading and record keeping with technology, right?
We have something similar in the UK. Historically, we have something similar in the UK called tally sticks. I don't know if you've ever heard of tally sticks.
Oh, I think I heard about them.
So they're literally sticks from a tree, like a piece of wood. And then you make the notches about taxes, usually about how much tax somebody owes. And then it's split in two. And the tax authority has one half, and the person who has to pay the tax has the other half. And so they can be put back together, but you can't cheat, because if you put them back together, you can see if one party has cheated. They have to look exactly. Do you see what I mean? You make the notches.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah. Mercedes, I wish you all the best. I'm sure you're going to be successful, and I'm also sure that we're going to talk again, and we're going to hopefully, at some point in the future, we're going to merge our projects and build a new kind of economy.
For sure. It's great to be connected with you, and please keep me updated of what you are developing. I will do the same.
Yes,
and see where
I'll
we
put you
can
on the,
merge.
I'll put you on the newsletter. We haven't got a newsletter yet, but when we do, I'll put you on the list.
Awesome. I will do the same. That's amazing.
All right, Mercedes. Lovely talking with you. And
Thank you.
I'll speak to you again.
Thank you, Dave.